Well, hello, everybody. We have an amazing conversation here. Give me a 5 if you can hear us live, and then I will give you details. I see you in the chat, so that's good. Excuse my froggy voice. And we're waiting. Just give me a 5. Usually there's a delay, 20 to 30 seconds, and then we'll be able to rock and roll. Hello, Allie. Hi, DJ. Punchy, Padam. What's up, everybody? And okay. There's the 5. That took a while, but I'm glad. Okay, great. So we're live. Everybody can hear us. I have extraordinary guests here today. It's a conversation with Sara and Carla Johnson, and they're actually going to supply evidence. The question is Arizona State sponsoring, is the state of Arizona sponsoring child trafficking? So they have an extraordinary story, a harrowing story, to be honest with you. So what we're going to do is I will play one song just to get you guys lined up in the chat. We'll do some housekeeping, and then we'll get started with this conversation. Let's get rock and rolling. And this was special request from, was it Carla? You requested this, right?
I did. I love that song. I'm not going to cry.
No, it's all right if you do. All right, we're going to get this rolling right now. You hear it all right?
It's a little low.
You are not here.
There we go.
Never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army. You in the middle of the darkest night, I will rescue you. I will never stop watching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear the whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue
incredible song. She's the perfect voice for singing that too, in my opinion. Wow. Well, we got you to cry, but the good
You
news for
did.
you is a lot of people in the chat are saying they're crying at the same time with you. That's a powerful, powerful song. Welcome everybody. My name is Lewis with Screw Big Gov. We have the lovely Sarah and Carla Johnson with us. I'm going to go over just a little housekeeping here. We're going to get right to it. For those of you that may have possibly been hiding under a rock, you may not have heard about the Truth Tour. Well, the Truth Tour is kicking off. We're almost there, guys. It's going to start in Sacramento. That would be a third. It's going to go to Grand Pass, Oregon, Olympia, Washington, Cheyenne, Wyoming, St. Paul, Minnesota, Bloomington, Illinois, Evansville, Indiana, Lansing, Michigan, Brooklyn. Yeah, that's right, right in the heart. Boston, Massachusetts, Lakewood, New Jersey, Charleston, South Carolina, Tampa, Florida, Benton, Arkansas, Lubbock, Texas, and then Tucson, Arizona. And then we have a mega event, 2 days, LA. It's actually in Anaheim, California. And it'll be a phenomenal event. If you can get tickets, fantastic. Just always know, and I say this often, if for some reason your finances do not let you, or you cannot help you support, get tickets, just text the number on your screen or contact us, connect with us, and we'll see what we can do, because I do not believe that finances should ever be a barrier to truth. If you have finances to do it, fantastic. If you have money to donate to help support our mission, fantastic also. If you don't, though, we still want to see your lovely faces at the Truth Tour. So that's about it for the housekeeping. Try to make it quick for both of you. If you can start off, guys, I know this is going to be, it's a very powerful subject and you've been dealing with this for a long time. Why don't you introduce yourselves and maybe tell a little backstory about what happened, so the people that aren't familiar with your story can kind of get an idea of what's going on.
Well, I'm Carla, and this is my daughter, Sara. We live in Arizona, which I believe is the worst corrupt state in the nation. I have 5 children, and Sara is my youngest daughter. I have 8 grandchildren, but 4 of them are still not with us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a long, hard battle, but we're not done. Do you want to?
Hi, everybody. My name's Sara. I'm a mother. I'm not going to cry. Like my mom said, of 4 sons. And for the past 13 years, we've been on this horrible, horrible battle against these abominations called CPS and government officials, governors, senators, legislators. We've been fighting for 13 going on 14 years.
Since 2009.
So what exactly happened that started this 13 or 14 years ago?
It was medical malpractice with the birth of her first son. What I found out later on was that hospitals, they specifically place social workers in the hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
And when her first son was born, the doctor ordered her to receive Pitocin to induce her labor more. And what we found out later was that she left the hospital to go to another hospital to deliver another baby. And when she was delayed in getting back to deliver Sara's son, she ordered that Sara be administered terbutaline sulfate to stop her labor. Well, in the meantime, Sara's going through this excruciating labor, and the baby starts going into cardiac arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, she was in labor for like 30 some hours.
Oh, wow.
And
What was
I
the
have the
purpose
exact-
of them trying to stop the labor? Why would they do that?
because the doctor wasn't back from
Okay.
the other hospital to deliver her son.
So instead of delivering naturally, they wanted to stop the process to get the doctor back.
Well, she couldn't deliver naturally because the cord was wrapped around his neck.
Let me clarify. I'm sorry. When I meant naturally, I meant for the natural process of birth. They wanted to stop everything, though, slow it down so the doctor could get back, right?
Right,
Okay, got it.
right, but he couldn't be delivered the natural birth way because the cord
of
was
the
wrapped
cord.
around his neck.
Got it. Okay.
And then, I mean, he was misdiagnosed completely from the beginning. They thought he was having seizures, and he wasn't having any seizures. They thought he was blind, he wasn't blind. And after going to several doctors and having several neurologists,
Neurologist.
Neurologist. Got it.
thank you. And several tests, he was finally diagnosed with hypoxic encephalopathy, which is basically cerebral palsy. But when I saw him after he was delivered by C-section, and they took him into this private room with all these doctors, I peeked through the blinds and saw his head, and it was just a cone head because he'd been in the birth canal for too long.
Mhm.
And I was upset, and I told the doctor, I said, you better get your checkbook out because you just committed medical malpractice. Well, that's what cerebral palsy is. It's medical malpractice. Ultimately, she closed up shop here in Arizona and opened up a practice back east.
Her name is
Dawn
Jenkins.
Yeah.
And
She
now
was-
she's practicing back east now. So she just ran from the problems. And you think that there's more victims?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea. So when her first son was taken at 14 months back in 2009, I have to praise God because I'm telling you, he led me down a rabbit hole, which is absolutely unbelievable.
It's really sinister.
Yeah. So after that happened, they knew that you were going to go after them, right? And then I'm assuming what happens next is they start attacking you or going after you. How does that work?
Well,
Because ultimately you lost your child or children to CPS, correct?
right.
Yes.
Right. So I want to go through that transition, how you went from the birth to that. I think that's extraordinarily important because I'm familiar with the games that they play. And I think it's that trajectory will be very important for the listeners to hear.
Well, after Isaiah, my first son, was born, Dr. Dawn Jenkins had a social worker come in at Arrowhead Hospitals where I delivered in Peoria, Arizona.
Mhm.
And she had a social worker come in for emotional or what was it?
Emotional support.
And my mom found out that they from the time that he was born, they were tracking us.
Yep.
And I only learned that because I requested several sets of Sarah's records from CPS and saw documents where they had been actually tracking her and her son.
Wow. So there's nothing that would give them a reason to track you. If I get the story correct, except for the fact that they're trying to cover their own ass from the medical malpractice.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Plus the federal and state funding for, foster care and adoptions.
Right. Yeah, which we're going to go into that because that's extraordinarily important. So, okay. So then the is it CPS is what we're talking about, right?
Well, CPS, everybody knows that's a common terminology for the
Right.
child welfare system.
Right.
But in 2014, Governor Brewer renamed it to the Department of Child Safety here in Arizona.
Yeah, I saw that. Right. Okay, cool. And then So then when they started, did they go after you? What happened after that when they came and had that visit?
He's talking about the social worker at the hospital. or-
Nothing really happened after that. We had no idea that they were even tracking Sarah or Isaiah.
Okay.
You know, we went to several doctors, had a lot of testing done to find out what was wrong with them. And we put him in the Arizona Early Intervention Program to get him services. And you know, we had people coming in from Southwest Human Development to give us support services if we needed it. Because we were all living together in one house. It was me, Sarah's two older sisters, Sarah's little brother, and then Sarah's older sisters each have a little girl, and they were 3 years old at the time that they came and took Isaiah.
And what was the reason for taking Isaiah, and how old was he at the time?
He was 14 months old, and they said it was medical neglect.
On your part,
Yeah,
ironically, and you were going after medical malpractice for them,
Yes.
right,
right? And
for the
so,
doctor.
right. So they said it was medical neglect on your part. And what was their justification for that, or was there any?
They said that we weren't taking Isaiah to the doctor, and that he wasn't seeing a neurologist for his seizures, but he wasn't having seizures.
Yeah, okay.
The doctor ruled that because of the cerebral palsy, he would always arch his back and look up and have these involuntary muscle movements, but it wasn't seizures. It was tonic spasms from the cerebral palsy.
Right. Which you're probably more familiar with than the doctors. At least I found that out myself dealing with some things. Because when you have a child that has a challenge, you dig in as much as you possibly can. And you almost become an expert. And it sounds like you're very versed, mom and grandma, what was going on. So Sarah, so they took Isaiah, right?
Yes.
Is that right? They took Isaiah at 14 months old.
Yes, we were called in because one of the therapists was assuming that he was having seizures, or right? What was her
Yeah.
name?
Jennifer Montoya, she worked for the Foundation for the Blind, and she thought that he was having seizures, so she called CPS and made a report.
So then on May 4th, 2009, we go in for a TDM, which is a team decision making meeting. And we brought all of his medical records in bins or boxes, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a bin, yeah.
And we were all in this room, and the supervisor, social worker supervisor, Rhonda Cash. My mom had said something, and it really, really pissed her off. And she slammed her hands on the desk.
She stood up first.
Yeah, she was standing, and she slammed her hands on the desk and said that your mother has pissed me off. I'm taking your son.
Wow.
But she also said, I don't care what kind of medical documentation you have for Isaiah.
And she told her that Rhonda Cash told my mother that she was going to make sure that she never saw her grandson again.
Oh, how disgusting. So why did she say you pissed her off? What did you do that she says pissed her off?
Because I was standing up to her.
You weren't taking her crap then.
No, I wasn't.
And it sounds like you probably were educated enough on the situation too. And I know I've dealt with doctors. They don't like that very much.
Oh, no, I
she's
wasn't. I
not a
wasn't
doctor.
educated at all. I had no clue what I was doing.
Oh, I meant on cerebral palsy.
Well, just what I learned from the doctors, you know.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So clearly this person, Rhonda Cash, was it?
Yes.
Was vindictive, right? And then they took Isaiah. And then what happened after that? Did you ever have a chance to see Isaiah again, or what's the battle been since?
Yeah, I was able to see him with supervised visits.
She had to go to the CPS office to visit him.
Yeah. But so after they took Isaiah, we go to court, right? And in the judge's order,
The very first court hearing for Isaiah.
very first one, they put in there that they were making him a ward of the court to prevent abuse and neglect.
Oh, wow.
And yeah,
And on that court case, I was re-looking at the documents. They don't even have her legal name on those documents.
You're talking about Sarah? They didn't have
Mhm.
Sarah's legal name on the documents? Okay.
Mm-mm.
so yeah, and then
So you're saying they already made the decision before even having a conversation with you?
Well, when I went through the records, I found out on June 4th, well, they had put Isaiah in a foster home where he was being abused and neglected.
mhm,
And I had a friend, Sandy Gouger, that I worked with for 10 years at a company. And I asked her if she would take my grandson and protect him.
Mhm.
And so she agreed. Oh, I totally lost my train of thought.
that Sandy agreed to take Isaiah. And that they were they were already contacting her about adopting him.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I found a note in there that 1 month after they took Isaiah away from Sara, they went to Sandy and they asked her if she would adopt him. They
So
had no intention of giving him back.
Right.
to Sara,
They
no
no
matter what she
intention
did.
of reinstituting the parent-child relationship.
No.
That's no, okay.
No.
So then, did you lose Isaiah permanently? Did you end up getting him back? What happened after that?
Oh, it gets worse, but Sara got a letter saying that they were going to put her name in the central registry as a child abuser
For the next 25 years.
for the next
Wow.
25 years, before she even had any hearing. And according to Arizona statutes, it says that if you want to refute your name being put in the central registry, that you can have a hearing before an administrative law judge. And they denied her that hearing. And the other thing that they did was, because Isaiah had cerebral palsy and he was disabled,
Mhm.
medically fragile. They were CPS was supposed to have this meeting that would consist of CPS workers and medical professionals to determine if he was really medically neglected.
Mhm.
Well, we had filed a complaint with the Arizona Ombudsman's office. And
For anybody that doesn't know what an ombudsman is supposed to be the independent, neutral support system for, in this case, would have been Sara and Isaiah.
right, and going through Sara's records, I found inter-office communication between the Ombudsman's office and Rhonda Cash.
Wow.
And Rhonda Cash told her, it was Kara Van Nuys. Rhonda Cash told her, well, we didn't have this meeting and it was just an oversight. And Kara Van Nuys wrote to Rhonda Cash and said, well, did anybody tell Sara that you guys messed up? Well, I already knew that they messed up because I was like starting my journey down that rabbit hole.
Right.
So I just want to give your viewers, this is Isaiah. I don't know if you
Oh,
guys have
thank
seen
you
it.
so much. Right.
That's Isaiah when he was born.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And I, with the medical, issues that he was having when he was born, I wasn't even able to hold him or even touch him because he would automatically go into like, I wouldn't say cardiac arrest, but
Mhm.
he was turning colors.
Wow.
And this, I want to show him this one. This photo was before he was taken.
Oh yeah, this was taken 4 days before they took him.
Oh, he's gorgeous too.
He was
Wow.
beautiful, beautiful.
So, okay, where were we? I just wanted to show them.
I appreciate that. Sara, also, can you get back into camera view when you get a chance?
I didn't know, sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. So Where's that other photo? There, we have a photo of Isaiah. When they took him, he just stopped. Toby, go. He I don't know where it is, but you can just really see the change in him. He went from being so joyful
Mhm.
to almost having no emotion.
I've heard about this a lot, by the way, and it's really, it's disgusting how they do this. So to fast forward,
Oh, here he is.
Okay.
okay, oh, wow, yeah,
Yeah, that was while he was in their care.
big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. So to fast forward, did he end up getting adopted by
Right.
somebody?
By
Okay,
Sandra, yeah, the same lady that was supposed to be my friend.
so they set it up ahead of time.
Right.
Yes.
And then okay, if it's an adoption, does she get financial assistance for that? Like
A lot.
exactly, and that's what I want to get to. So how much does that look like, say, per month, and plus I'm sure for medical and all this other stuff? Because I know it compounds is the way the game works.
Oh, it's thousands of dollars.
I mean, she was able to buy a whole brand new house, new vehicles, new furniture, everything.
Yeah. Do you have any evidence that they gave her information ahead of time that would have let her know that how much money she would be making if she would have to adopt Isaiah?
I'm sure when she agreed to be the foster placement that they told her what she was going to get paid.
Okay. All right. So since the adoption, have you seen Isaiah?
No.
No,
So-
Sandy actually has Isaiah has his brother Freddie and Josiah.
right.
She has all three boys.
And how did they end up with Freddie and Josiah?
Well, we were going through court for Isaiah. Sarah got pregnant again. And whenever we'd go to court, she'd wear a big shirt and hide the fact that she was
Can you
pregnant.
give me the camera? Sorry.
But when she went into the hospital to deliver Freddie, her second son, they had already, I found a form, it's called a hit list. And CPS has already notified the hospitals that if Sarah showed up at that hospitals to deliver her baby, they were supposed to immediately call them.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so even though there's no now I'm not saying that you did anything obviously with Isaiah, but so even though there's nothing concrete that is done with the next boy, right? Is that your second child, I assume?
Freddie.
Freddie,
Yes.
Freddie, okay. So even though there was nothing that was done to Freddie, they already prematurely or are going to, they know that they're going to take that next child.
Yes.
Right.
Holy
Well, see,
crap.
that's why they put Sarah's name on the central registry. Because Arizona law says that they're not supposed to take any other children unless there are separate allegations. But they took Sarah's second son directly from the hospital.
And so
Sarah,
you never even really had a legitimate hearing, right? Because you told me
No.
everything was predetermined.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Everything, honestly, the way that it is I believe that it was all a setup. Everything was very, very well orchestrated and planned. I mean, my case, I have 35 judges in my case.
Wow.
There's 168 people total
Yeah, it
that
includes,
orchestrated this.
And
Yeah.
how many out of that 168 are on your side?
None.
none of them, absolutely none of them.
So they're just
They were all in it together.
all part of the same system, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
So Freddie and I'm sorry, what's your other son's name?
Josiah.
Josiah. Freddie
Josiah's the third one.
and they did the same thing with Josiah. Is that what happened, or what happened
Well,
different?
we went underground. We took off to Oklahoma to go and get away from Arizona and, you know, the CPS out here. I was leaking amniotic fluid, and I had to go in for an emergency C-section. And the hospital saw those 3 little words, CPS, for my OBGYN.
Wait, and
In
this
Arizona.
emergency C-section was in
Yeah.
Arizona or Oklahoma?
It was in Oklahoma.
Wow, and the record still carried forward to Oklahoma.
Yes, yes. And so
I had met a lady online, and
yeah,
we had it all organized. We were going to go there, stay at her house. Sarah was going to deliver the baby. We had a lawyer where I was going to take custody of the little boy and save him from the clutches of CPS, but
Right.
it didn't work out that way.
so the, you know, CPS out in Oklahoma or whatever, they got in contact with Arizona, and Arizona government officials, I don't know who it was, told them to hold my son until they can have him transferred to Arizona.
Wow.
It was Roberto Salinas and Judge Corey.
So
So they
yeah,
actually have it. Do they have legal jurisdiction to cross state lines and
No, they didn't. You know,
No?
Oklahoma didn't have. They held us there in Oklahoma for like 3 months, and under the UCCJAA Act, and they didn't have the authority to hold us, and they didn't have the authority to even take Josiah because we weren't residents of Oklahoma.
wow.
so with Josiah, they said that I abandoned him.
They take her son,
Right.
and then they say that she abandoned this baby, which
Wow. Oh my God. I'm sorry that you had to go through all this. This is incredible. So how hard was it for you when you started leaking amniotic fluid? Because then you know you're going to have to go to a hospital at that time, right? Was this a concern that you thought this may happen even in Oklahoma?
We didn't think that it was gonna happen, but 20 minutes before we were gonna leave the hospital,
she was getting ready to get discharged with Josiah. You know, the nurse was there and took Josiah and
said they were gonna go get him ready to come
get him
home.
ready, do his footprints and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, her hospital room is
There-
filled with social workers,
And
hospital
sheriffs.
security, Tulsa County sheriff's officers.
Oh my Lord.
Oh yeah,
And there were complications with the C-section. I ended up collapsing, and I was in the hospital for how many days was I in the
oh
hospital?
no, it got infected, and it
Yeah.
was horrible.
And so the courts out in Oklahoma actually made me go through some court hearings, knowing that I was not all coherent, like I was on medication, and they kicked her out of the court building.
The Tulsa County sheriff's deputies actually threw me out of the courthouse.
Really?
Yeah,
To get me alone.
they
And-
wanted her alone.
And did you have representation at all?
Oh,
I
Neil
think so.
Kirkpatrick, he was another pretender.
Yeah, I mean, was he a public defender or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was. They're all the attorneys are absolutely useless.
I've
Yeah.
had 13 in my case.
They work for the state.
Right. We're familiar with that on other cases that we've dealt with. It's just ridiculous. So, all right. So clearly they were targeting you. It sounds like, and tell me if I'm off base, it sounds like they were targeting you because you publicly mentioned that doctor, the original doctor, was wrong, and that you were going to go after her. So this is their retaliation. Is that what you believe it is?
I believe that's what it was at first.
Okay.
But then over time, it was just getting more.
I think it was more personal with Rhonda Cash.
Yeah, but
Because these CPS workers want you to, they look at you like you're subservient. They want you to bow down and
Right.
take their orders and do what they want you to do.
Yeah, it's a control mechanism for sure.
Yeah, I had a lawyer tell me, one of the 13 that I had, he told me that, they have to first, take care of the court and the best interests of the court before the parents.
Oh, I can't do that, Sarah. The court has me by the balls. That's what he said.
Right. So for anybody watching in the chat right now, there's a Dropbox that's posted with all the evidence of what we're talking about. I have it here on my computer. We may or may not show some of it depending on what Carla and Sarah want to do here. So number one, I really appreciate your strength, because this is an incredible story, and I can see it's heart-wrenching just talking about it. And I apologize if it feels like I probe too much, but this story is so mega important to get out there that I want there to be real clarity when people listen to this so they can understand what's going on. So ultimately, Sarah, you lost your 3 boys.
4.
4 of them.
Oh, you lost 4 of them.
Yes.
Okay, so these
Now,
were the-
all after these cases with their first 3 sons were over and done with, good Lord help this child, she got pregnant again.
okay.
But
No.
this time we wised up. She went into the hospital.
I went into Australia, if I'm pronouncing that right, hospital.
Right, but she went in, and you can go to the hospital and have a baby, and you can say, which is what she did, I'm here to deliver this baby. I don't want the father to know I'm here.
Mhm, mhm.
And the hospital won't list your name. So if anybody calls the hospital, they don't have you listed as a patient.
Right.
So we got to bring little Jaden home for 8 months.
And the reason that is because I did not give him a birth certificate or a social security number card
Right.
at the hospital.
So they couldn't track the records.
Well, when you are given a birth certificate and a social security card, you automatically become property of the state that you're born in.
But that's a whole nother
Yeah.
topic.
So for a week after we left the hospital, they were calling and being very, very, very rude, demanding that we come in and give
Get
that
the
to him
birth
because
certificate.
they wanted him.
Right. They wanted your 4th son.
Yeah, they wanted Jaden.
Right. And then, so what finally happened when they got Jaden? He was 8 months old.
Yeah, he was 8 months old.
The father of my not Isaiah, but the rest of my children, he's a convicted felon, has a really long, bad record track. Him and this girl, Ashley Sharilla, called in a false CPS report against me
Mhm.
to get Jaden taken. And
And this girl gave CPS the only address that she knew.
no, she didn't. Freddie had to, the dad,
Oh, maybe
his
it was,
name is Freddie.
maybe it was Freddie. I
yeah,
don't know.
he gave her the address.
And so what they didn't know was that we had moved out of that house 6 months prior to that. So CPS was going to the old house where we used to live.
Mhm.
And the accusations from this Ashley Sharilla said that Sarah was using heroin and she was selling heroin from our home and all this other stuff. So what I found out going through.
You have to unmute. I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Just click unmute.
That's okay. Got it.
There you go.
So what I found out going through the records was the social worker, Michael Messinas, who had, what I found out, had no training. Before he started working as a CPS investigator, he was a salesperson at Old Navy. And the only reason he got the job at CPS was because his mother worked there. But anyway, Sarah, because she was a single mom and she was getting food stamps and medical from the state, he went into those records and got Sarah's current address, and she was living with me.
Wow.
So then, like all these social workers and cops come to our house
Well,
and
let's
they're gonna
rewind.
arrest us and they want to take Jaden. And one of the officers wrote a report for us and said that he saw absolutely no signs of abuse or neglect.
Yeah, but see, so after okay, let me just get my thoughts.
But this was the third time. No, yeah, this was the third time our house, our residence was actually besieged by cops.
Those videos are on YouTube.
Okay.
And I can send you those. But so when Ashley and the father of my 3 younger children called the CPS came and knocked on our door with 2 police officers.
It was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and she wanted to come in and strip Jaden down and check and see if he was okay. We absolutely refused to open that door.
Mm-mm.
They left. And then
But then they started stalking outside of our apartment.
yeah, so I took off the very next day. I took off to go stay at my brother's ex-girlfriend's house. And so I think I was gone for like a week. The same freaking day that I came back to my mom's house, boom, boom, boom. There were so many sheriffs, like 3 social
No, these
workers.
are police officers, not sheriffs.
They were?
Yeah, they were Phoenix police.
Well, it was like a 4-hour standoff of us refusing to give up Jaden.
They were gonna break down the door. They were gonna arrest us and throw us in jail.
Yeah. And yeah, the cop said that he was going to charge us criminally. This is Jaden.
No, get the better picture.
I'm gonna show.
Yeah, there's grandma. Look, get the better picture.
Yeah.
The
This was
big picture.
this was right before Jaden was taken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but get this. So I found out, that the lady that adopted Jaden, Stephanie Spencer Nixon, her uncle is Mark Spencer, and he works directly for Tom Fitton with Judicial Watch. So you see how I
Yeah.
like this is all set up,
So everything's connected.
Yeah.
So then they got Jaden, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then have you seen any of your 4 children since?
No, we haven't seen the boys, the 3 older boys since 2010.
Wow.
And the last time we saw Jaden was back in, I think 2014.
That was when they were at court. Stephanie and her husband
Mhm.
were able to go in the court hearing. She was kicked out.
So to this date, you're still on some list,
Mhm.
I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
As if you're an abuser,
Mhm.
right?
Child abuser, yes.
Mhm.
Wow.
When your name gets on that central registry, which is completely, it's completely controlled by
Mhm.
CPS. There's no oversight. You're listed as a child abuser for 25 years.
So, Carla, I know you've done a lot of digging. Have you found what you think is the motivation for what they're doing here? And other than them going after you, I think there's a bigger picture here. Is there a lot of money involved? What is your rabbit
Oh,
hole
yeah, it's a lot
brought
of
up for
federal
you?
funding. I had certain websites that I went to here in Arizona and with the federal government, and now they've hidden all those reports that I used to get. I can't get the reports anymore.
Interesting. So they were on the website, but now you can't find them anymore.
No, they've made it to where you can't get into these files directly.
Okay.
I mean, I have some of the funding that I printed out I do know, one of the reports I found was back in 2019. The federal government issued 9.8 billion, that's with a B,
Mhm.
dollars to states for the foster care adoptions and bonuses.
So-
$9.8 billion.
So with your digging, after the foster person, who gets the money? Or where do you think the money's going?
Well, I mean, it's job security for, like, you know, the social workers,
Mhm.
the court appointed attorneys, the judges, the courts, you know, psychologists, psychiatrists for psychological
Mhm.
evaluations, drug testing, counseling. I mean, there's 1,000 different agencies that are contracted with our child welfare system here. But when I started exposing all this, Arizona went to great lengths to remove all that information from public access. So all those contracts now are hidden.
Mhm. So, do you know approximately how much per child is worth when they put them into the system like this?
I believe it's estimated that they make roughly about $1 million a year off of every child, unless they designate that child to be medically fragile or have special needs.
Then they get triple the fund.
Then they get triple the funds.
And then it's 3 million. Yeah, that's what I read also. So in essence, so that they're using children to fund this mega apparatus that keeps everybody employed, right? It's got to
Right,
be bigger
it's-
than that. I'm guarantee there's payoffs involved also. When
absolutely.
there's that much money flowing through the system, for sure.
A lot of the people that are in my case, they got promoted for what they did to my family.
Attorneys became commissioners and judges, and
Yeah.
social workers became supervisors. And
Mhm.
but you know, I mean, the last report I have here, and I don't remember what year it was from, but it says here Title 4E is a major component of funding for the division. Arizona receives approximately $180 million annually for Title 4E funds.
And that's just from the feds.
Right, that's just from the feds. That's not even from this.
And
the
that's
state
only
government.
one, that's just from Title E. They actually get a lot more than that from different entities.
Oh, Lord, yeah, there's
Yeah.
several government, federal funding for this.
Do you have any documents that you want me to show that you sent over? Anything that you want me to pull up and discuss?
Oh, good Lord, there's so much in there.
Yeah, pick anything that you think is appropriate for this.
I want to note too, to let everybody know that I have been kicked out of a hearing that I had to go to, a court hearing. I was kicked out. They locked me out. And then the judge said that I was not there.
Oh, but
She
they
said
didn't
that I
they
was-
didn't let
that
they
I
didn't
didn't
let you
go.
in. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to show your viewers this.
She's gonna show my postal picture.
Sorry, it's a bolo. It's in the files. But it says here, you can read it.
Oh, we were actually we were at one of Sarah's court hearings for her last son, Jaden. And this sheriff's security, a security officer for the court that had a sheriff's uniform on, actually came up to us.
Mhm.
And he recognized me and he says, did you know, he had this piece of paper in his hand, and he said, did you know that they have a bolo on you? And I said, what? And he said, yeah, they have a bolo on you. And he showed it to me. And I was there with a couple friends, and I said, can I get a copy of that? Can I get a picture of that? And he said, no. And he was walking back over to his desk while he was looking at me like he was showing me where he put it. And then he walked away. So
Yeah.
my friend went over and took a picture of it. And this
So-
is back in 2014.
So he was doing a good thing. Is that what you think?
Yes.
I
Okay.
think he was an angel. He was an
Okay.
angel. Because I called the sheriff's department and they have nobody that works there by that name.
Oh, wow.
There's
Interesting.
nobody. So God is definitely in this.
But it says it gives my age, my height, my weight. And it says I have no criminal history.
For the viewers, explain what a bolo is so they understand.
It's like a wanted picture, be on the lookout.
Right. Beyond the lookout is what it stands for. Right.
Yes.
And on the caption, it says, Subject Johnson has been trying to present her case to the grand jury. I found the grand jury in Arizona. Her daughter's children were taken by CPS and she is accusing the courts of being corrupt and running a kidnapping ring. She blames specifically Judge Ishikawa and Judge Corey. Contact your supervisor or Inspector Finsky or Safran should you see her enter your facility.
So, what's interesting about that is they laid out what you were doing, by the way, which is not illegal in the least bit, right? But at the same time, they're putting a tag on you so people can grab you up. That's just sinister as hell.
Well, I'm not accusing these.
But even if you were, it's not illegal if you did.
Well,
Doesn't
no,
matter.
but it's the truth. They're operating a child kidnapping ring.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
on
And
my site.
but it's not illegal for you to accuse. And I believe there's got to be a statute that for what they are doing is illegal. The challenge is if the whole system's corrupt, how do you fight it? And how are you fighting it right now? I mean, is it just getting the word out like we're doing now? I mean, what are you doing?
We have we've mailed countless documents to
The White Hats in DC.
yes, Trump, Ivanka, Melania, William Barr, Trey Gowdy, Rudy Giuliani.
Oh,
I mean, the list goes on. and on
Millie,
and
I
on.
mean, but excuse me. We had our documents hand delivered
Mhm,
to Trump right when the COVID broke out.
that
Mhm.
same day.
Yeah, and so we tried something new. I mean, we've gone to every government agency in the state of Arizona and they will not do anything at all.
Wendy
It's a
Rogers.
good old buddy system.
Wendy Rogers she's had this evidence since last year.
No, I've already
Ah.
exposed Wendy Rogers face to face, so you're not going to get any traction with her. In my opinion. The challenge is they're all from the same political fabric, and that's what you guys are dealing with. This is a tough one. So, but have you gotten response from anybody that you've sent it out to? Not one, right?
Oh, yeah, we got a letter from the Maricopa County District Attorney Bill Montgomery's office that said they weren't going to do an investigation. And we got a letter from Attorney General Mark Brnovich that said that they weren't going to conduct an investigation. How would we expect them to conduct an investigation because they're part of the problem anyway?
Right, exactly. And did they give a justification for why they weren't going to do an investigation?
No,
We sent it to
that's in the Dropbox. I think that's under my evidence.
Okay. So, when's the last time you did anything officially?
In May of this year,
Wow.
I wrote up what's called a declaration affidavit of truth.
mhm,
And I sent it to the major government officials like Ducey, Brnovich,
Mhm.
Governor Doug Ducey, Attorney General Mark Brnovich, the new director of CPS here. I sent it to the
risk management.
Speaker of the House in our legislators, the head honcho in our Senate. I sent it to the Chief of Police, Jerry Williams. Who else did I send it to?
The FBI and risk management.
Oh yeah, I sent it to FBI and risk management. And I wrote everything out, very detailed. I mean, killer document. And told them that they had 10 days to respond. No one responded at all, period. It's like, it's like for 14 years, I've been hitting that brick wall.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I wrote up what's called a declaration in dishonor and told them that they have committed treason, they violated their oath of office, and that I was going to file a claim with their insurance company. Well, prior to writing up these documents, I contacted risk management and with a FOIA to get information on the insurance that covers the state of Arizona and its employees.
Mhm.
Because according to statute, they have a liability insurance if you are harmed by someone who is in office. So I wrote off to Willis and Company. I sent them an email and I sent them all the documents. And I said, I want you to file a claim in my name. I also filed a notice of claim with our Arizona Risk Management back in May. Excuse me. And they gave me a case number. Didn't hear back from any government officials, didn't even hear back from the insurance company at all.
We get nowhere.
Mm-mm.
No, I mean, literally the only people that are helping us are amazing patriots like yourself.
Yeah.
You guys are giving us a voice. And
All is not lost.
yeah, I mean, just gotta keep
I
going.
have spent all week working on something new. And I don't really want to reveal what we're working on.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But we are gonna make best friends the most hated government agency that there is. Like I was talking to Sarah's cousin yesterday, and I told Sarah's cousin, I said, do you guys remember like when the FBI and everybody was going after all these mob bosses and stuff?
Mhm.
And I said, remember when like they didn't prosecute the mob bosses for the crimes they were actually committing.
Right.
They went after them for tax evasion.
Yeah, and Rico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So put 2 and 2 together. So, I've been working on that all week. And
Well, that's smart because everything's going down the RICO road. So all of our healing will probably be through RICO laws. That's how, put aside what anybody's thoughts about Giuliani, that's how they took down the mob in New York. Also, is they use RICO and racketeering laws. It's hard to prove, but when you do, it trumps everything. No pun intended. So it's a good road to go down. Is there is there the same sheriff that you've had from the beginning, or have you changed sheriffs in your county?
no, it used to be Sheriff Joe Arpaio,
No.
Right.
and now it's
Zone.
Pinzone.
Okay. And you've
Oh, he is worthless.
right, you've contact. And are you the challenge is a good constitutional sheriff has the ability to do something, but if they're not a constitutional sheriff, they're just going to blow you off. And it's unfortunate. That's what happens. So what can I do to help just getting the word out, making sure everybody knows, you know what I mean? Or you want to, when you get your new deal that you're working on, maybe we'll have to send that to me and I can get it out there. What can I do to help?
Pass this evidence. I mean, from my end, pass this evidence out. I want every American to see what's going on, because this is not just in our state. This is a one well-oiled machine designed specifically to traffic children.
Right.
Destroy families and
They
traffic
use these children for organ harvesting, adrenochrome, pedophilia.
Well, that's what I was going to ask next, Sarah. So, your your four children are all placed in a foster home. Are you sure, or is something more sinister happened to them?
No, they've all been adopted.
Yeah, we have the addresses of where they live.
Okay.
My youngest son, Jaden, he lives 14 minutes from me.
Wow.
7 miles.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, God is good when he leads me down these rabbit holes. But
Mm.
you know, when this first started, after they kidnapped Isaiah, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was literally in bed for 5 days, just crying. I mean, that little boy was my buddy.
Yeah.
And Sarah and I, you know, we've talked about it, and we've wondered, why do we have to go through this? Why did God choose this path for us? And in our conversations, we believe that
This is facts.
a lot of people are called, but few are actually chosen to do things.
Mhm.
Many are called, but few are chosen.
Yeah, and we don't want to take any of the credit. You know, all this rabbit hole that the good Lord has led me down, it's for his glory. Because what is most precious to God is his children. And when you become a mother or a father, that is God's gift to you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's my son.
Yeah, he's
getting
making
water.
coffee.
It's fine. It's fine. So,
We want to expose this child trafficking operation that is they're operating under the guise that they're protecting these children.
mhm.
When they're not really protecting these children, they're in search of children to take away and destroy the family
Mhm.
and put these children into forced adoptions or use them as guinea pigs or sex trafficking, human trafficking.
A lot of the children that go missing are actually, they're not missing. They're being sold. And
Right.
like, okay, so,
Excuse me, I have to go.
okay, so
I'll be right back.
Governor Doug Ducey is on the board of directors with TGen, which TGen is, it's a what? It's what? Transgenomial research. They do drug trials on foster children.
I
Same
think,
thing.
isn't that one of the documents that you sent me?
I think so. It should be in there.
Okay.
And Phoenix Children's Hospital in Phoenix, they have a contract with CPS and that's in the documents also.
Mhm.
For every child that they refer to CPS, they get $865 per child. And they are allowed to use foster children and do drug trials on them
Wow.
as well.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you want to get this, you know, the Dropbox you sent me with all the information? Can we make that available to the public?
Oh, this is all over the internet.
Okay.
I posted this
Okay,
on all
good.
my social media.
All right.
Well-
So I'm going to put it in the description on the Rumble channel for anybody that's looking. You'll be able to click on it in about a couple of minutes. I'll get it in there while we're talking. And then I'll also post it on my Telegram So people can go to it. Now you're going to update this too, I would assume too. So if somebody goes back to it in a few months, they may have more information there or no?
No, actually, I have links for a backup process. I ran out of space on my Dropbox,
Okay.
and if the Dropbox gets too much traffic,
Yeah.
it'll block it.
Okay. Tell me
So-
where I can go and then I can post that for you.
I'll have Sarah send you the links to the backup file.
Yeah, I can send it to that lady that.
Okay,
set
yeah.
this up.
Yes, send that to, and then folks, if you're watching this live, you have to may have to come back later tonight or tomorrow. And then we'll get this stuff up for you. And then I'll also be posting it in my Telegram. So be patient, we'll get it up for you. Yeah, I was going to ask you if you're worried about the Dropbox because you can get overwhelmed on there and then it gets expensive or they'll shut it down.
Right, I mean, initially, when this started, our goal was to actually just get the boys back.
Yeah,
Mhm. Right.
But going down the rabbit hole and finding out what we found out, our goal has included shutting the system down and getting some oversight. But if you want to go into
I sent it to her.
the
Oh, good.
rabbit
Oh,
hole,
good. I may be able to get it then while we're doing this.
Yeah, we did on the 7th, we did an interview with Nicholas. I
Yeah.
cannot pronounce this.
Veni Amen. He's a friend of
does
mine.
that have the second?
Yeah, it does. It has.
Oh,
it on
okay,
there.
good,
So,
good.
yeah, I just copied and pasted it from his.
We want to do what we can to help protect other families, because there is not one single family in this nation that
Is safe.
that is safe from this tyranny or this criminal organization.
I mean, that's why this whole pandemic is happening. COVID, everything's all tied in together, and it's all about the children.
So let me kind of explain what I found on the rabbit hole. Our Department of Child Safety is a privately held company. They have a contract with the state of Arizona. I also found out that they are on Dun & Bradstreet, and I actually have the real report that we ordered.
Mhm.
Okay. This is not only a criminal organization that is funded by the states, it's actually funded by the federal government. They give the states millions and millions of dollars. But when Sara brought up, excuse me, the children being used as guinea pigs, it's true. I found Title 45 of the Public Welfare Act that was issued by the Department of Health and Human Services. And it's 46.409 wards of the state. And I quote, "Children who are wards of the state or any other agency, institution, or entity can be included in research. One individual may serve as an advocate for more than one child." That could be a social worker, a CPS social worker.
Right.
The advocate shall be an individual who has the background and experience to act in and agrees to act in the best interest of the child. The best interest of a child is a banking term. So why do social workers take children? And the courts say, well, we're doing this because it's in the best interest of the child.
Mhm.
So when I went on to look, and I found out that the federal government has issued the child welfare system a federal identification number. So these social workers can actually go in and they can say, hey, I've got this child that is medically fragile or disabled, so they can get triple the funds.
Yeah.
Wow.
And something I want to just, because when I did the interview with Nick, people were wondering about the fathers. Isaiah's father got, he was out of the picture, didn't know, about Isaiah or anything. He had reached out to me and he actually went to court. He did the DNA test, and what we found out is that they told him he was not the father, and they terminated his rights without telling him.
Oh, so they told him he's not the father.
And they terminated his parental rights. He is the
Wow.
father.
But he is the father.
Yes.
Wow.
And then with my other three, sorry, where was I going with that? Oh, he's never been in the picture. He just spent 7 years in prison. Me and Mom have been the ones fighting for these boys.
And the whole thing is that initially they charged Sara with medical neglect with Isaiah, saying that she wasn't taking him to the doctor's office. Well, we had all the medical reports that showed he was going to several doctors.
But every
Okay.
time a judge
And then when they took her second son, our house was besieged by all these cops, and that's all on video.
yes, I'll send that.
They're gonna
to you.
break into the house, spray the lock. We don't have to show you a warrant. We're gonna arrest you. We're gonna break your door down. And with their third, by the time they took Freddie, her second son, they were saying that they were accusing Sara of substance abuse, mental health issues, domestic violence. And then when they took her third son, it was all based on the case with the first two. And then by the time they took Jaden, her last son, this Michael Messinas that we never met, and I once again ruffled his feathers. He called me, wanting me to bring Sara and Jaden down to the office, and I said, oh, hell no. We've been down this route before. So he says, and I have it on recording, if you're not going to cooperate with me, I'm going to take your grandson.
Wow.
So, he comes, he wrote in his report to the court was, mother stated she's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. Mother stated she is using heroin and selling heroin from her home. Mother stated this, mother stated that. And in the same report, this is how ironic it is. He says, mother has not been interviewed at this time. Well, if I'm writing this report and mother said this and mother said that, and I say mother hasn't been interviewed at this time, who did mother say all this to? Because she didn't say it to you.
Right.
So when we get into the termination of parental rights, we had all of Isaiah's medical records, and we tried to get Sara's attorneys to submit them to the court. They all refused. So this is when I became Sara's right-hand man at the front of the line, and I started writing all these legal documents.
Well, she has power of attorney.
Well, yeah, but
Real quick before we continue, Sara, I'm talking to my assistant right now, and she said the links you sent, our two of them are still a Dropbox. I thought you didn't want us to send them to a Dropbox.
they can go to the Dropbox or the backup link.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Dropbox is okay.
Oh, yeah.
But isn't there the Dropbox you sent me, you did not want them to go to, Carla?
No, it's fine.
Oh, that is fine. Okay, I guess
Yeah, I
I'm,
know it's confusing. There's the link to the Dropbox, and then there's a link to my online storage.
Mhm.
If the Dropbox gets too much traffic, they can go to the other link,
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's not restricted.
okay. Do you have a preference? Which one you want me to
No.
put up? Okay,
You
cool.
can put them both up, it's fine.
But yeah, that'd probably be best to put them both up.
All right, that's what I'm doing right now while we're
Both of those links
talking.
have the exact same information.
Excellent. Okay, I'm putting them up as we speak.
And I sent her the 2 videos
Yep,
of.
I'm literally putting those up too right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just posted for anybody watching, if you'd like to assist Sarah and Carla, I put up a Give Send Go link up for them also, right? And I'm assuming you sent that to my assistant, right? So that's yours. Okay, I don't want to put up somebody else's.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So guys, you have to refresh your browser and anybody watching will be able to get to that. That's already up. And then while we're talking, I'll put up the 2 YouTube videos and I'll post your Dropboxes too. So if my head's down, just so I'm working on your behalf, just so you
You're
know.
multitasking, I'm telling you. You're a godsend.
No,
So,
no, you're a godsend. In fact, I absolutely admire your courage. And to me, I think it's extraordinary that you kept your faith in God this whole time. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful lesson for everybody. So thank you for that.
It hasn't always been.
no,
Well, and thanks for your honesty, because of course you're gonna waver back and forth. I get it.
Oh, I used to not want to talk about God. If
Mhm.
my brother would bring up God, I would just go, like I don't want to say like lunatic or anything, but I would just get very angry.
Yeah.
when this battle first started, we genuinely felt like victims,
Mhm.
really
I can
did.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And then we became survivors,
Mhm.
and now we're warriors.
Yeah, I
We
see.
are
that.
warriors. God has changed us from a victim to a warrior. I have to tell you a story.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
cry.
she says.
I'm
Sarah goes,
telling you,
Sarah
I'm gonna
goes,
cry.
oh no.
Well,
We were living in this little apartment, and it was just an absolute horrible place. But it's the apartment where they kidnapped Jaden, her last son. And after they took him, Sarah was sitting in this chair I'm sitting in right now at my desk. And she was crying and crying and crying. And she said, Mom, I went in, I asked her, I said, are you okay? She says, Mom, I just want to die. I want to die.
I was gonna drown myself in the bathtub that night.
Wow.
And it was a few minutes later, she stopped crying and her hands were up here like this. And I said, Sarah, are you okay? Are you okay? And she whispered to me and she says, Mom, I can't move my hands. And I said, why?
You made me
And she
cry.
told me, she says, Jesus is holding my hands right now. And he said he would never leave me.
He said that everything was gonna be okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll never forget that night. And she stopped crying. And ever since that night, that Jesus, the good Lord, took her hands, she's been blessed. I mean, he has given her wisdom and insight beyond measure. And I know that, we talk about it because we're really close, but every time we gain some ground, I'll look at Sarah, she'll look at me, and I'll tell each other, okay, what's Satan gonna do to us now?
Right. Every time something good happens, we're like, oh dear, what is he gonna do?
Okay.
Uh,
So now I'm going to be teaching you manifestation. No more doing that. Because we can,
Oh,
we
yeah,
can,
no.
we can manifest what what we're worried about also.
Yeah,
So,
life and death is in the
Yep.
power of the tongue.
So-
We don't really worry about it. We
Good.
laugh about it.
you
because
laugh, I
like,
get you, you laugh it off, but you got to stay positive now. And it's hard, I know, but you just got to, we have to live in the positive because, that's what one of God's gift that he gave us, but he didn't give the cabal. They don't know how to do that. So,
well, I can tell you honestly, Sarah and I do not have any fear.
And that is because of God.
Beautiful.
We're always praying that we're covered in the blood of Jesus in doing what we're doing, so he protects us.
No weapon formed against us shall prosper.
Yeah. So, when the judges terminated her parental rights, what they had no lawful right to do, Judge Christopher Curry lied in his order. He said Isaiah was having seizures, he wasn't being taken to the doctor, and I mean, but also in there, he said that part of the reason he was terminating her rights was because the boys were adoptable.
Yeah, healthy children are adoptable. That's why they're not damaged goods.
Right. And then when Judge Brian Ishikawa terminated her rights to Josiah, her third son, it was written in the order that terminating mother's parental rights will speed up the adoption process.
Tell them about Joan Sinclair. This is another judge, Judge Sinclair.
Sarah was in a court hearing for her last son with Joan Sinclair. And Sarah was, she kept trying to get these attorneys dismissed because she wanted to present herself in court.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Go
She wanted
pro
to be,
se.
she didn't want to be, under the attorneys because they weren't
Mhm.
doing anything anyway.
Right.
So she's telling Judge Joan Sinclair, you're a trustee of justice and law,
Hmm.
and you have to do what's honorable. Well, she's like me. She pissed off Judge Sinclair.
Did.
So Judge Sinclair told her, she said, I'm going to change the case plan to termination and adoption. And so Sarah asked the judge, she says, well, what evidence do you have to terminate my parental rights?
Hmm.
And you know what the judge told her? It's not a matter of evidence, ma'am.
Wow.
This whole entire court case, all the evidence that Sarah submitted in the documents that I wrote for her,
Hmm.
it was all struck from the record. I mean, it's there in the record because I have the whole entire docket on a CD, but it was never acknowledged in court.
They wouldn't even put my certificates of completion on the record.
I mean, when they said that, when they made the allegations of medical neglect, they didn't have a doctor on the stand to testify that Isaiah was medically neglected or that he was having seizures or that he wasn't going to the doctor. They didn't have any police reports or anything of domestic abuse or violence. They had no records of any substance abuse or mental health issues.
And I was dropping UAs for them.
So they were just taking the word of your ex. Is that where some of this came from?
No, they were taking the word of the social workers.
But I
But
meant
it started
with
from,
yeah, it originated from false accusations from your ex. Is that right?
No, it originated with false allegations from Rhonda Cash.
Oh,
it all started with Rhonda Cash, but as time went on, they started adding more allegations.
So what's your strategy? I know there's something that you don't want to tell me, and I get it because you're working on it. But what has been the strategy? It says you feel like you can't even represent yourself at this point. Is that right?
Well, I mean, there's no more court cases.
Yeah,
Right.
we went
I
from-
mean, because of the fraud. See, whenever you go to court and the fraud starts a case,
Mhm.
the fraud vitiates everything.
every
It's a-
order
it's-
is
All the orders are null and void.
Right.
Okay. And on Sarah's first court case, they don't even have her legal name on there.
Well, what you mean is it's supposed to vitiate everything, but they're not following the letter of the law.
Well, they're not following Arizona law and they're not even following federal law.
Right.
These courts get federal money and the state of Arizona gets federal money.
Yeah.
Whenever they get federal money, they are mandated to uphold federal law. Federal law trumps state law.
Wow.
So we really don't know. I mean, I guess you could say what we're doing right now is just
Well, I
trying to-
think this is probably the most important thing you could possibly do right now.
yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
get the information out. So I just, anybody watching, just refresh your browser, just click the refresh button, right? And then hit play again, and it'll go live. You will see down there, I just posted a Give Send Go link for Carla and Sarah, the warrantless seizure video 1 and video 2. The evidence folders are all on there also. So there's a ton of information you guys can go through. And I'll make sure I get the word out as much as possible, because I think that's important, obviously, with this video. The reason why I took so long with you is because I don't think it's appropriate to put you on a timeline and shortcut this story. You know what I mean? That's why I wanted to bring you from A to Z to where we are now. So people, if you really want to get support, okay, so I'm sure you understand that dropping a pebble in the water and it ripples out and so on and so forth, right? I want to give you the best chance to touch maybe just somebody's heart in here that just has some pull or has an idea, or that can do something. So that's why I brought you through A to Z, through the pain and everything that we went through in this short conversation. So I hope you understand that was my purpose, is to give you the best opportunity to have something else positive come out of this.
Well, like Lauren Daigle says in that song, I will send out an army. We want an army. We don't want any more families to be destroyed or any more children.
Right. So, I mean,
Destroyed.
we already know, like Nancy Schaefer, God rest her soul, how she was murdered for going and exposing this.
Linda Collins Smith was another one that was murdered.
But we've already made up our minds. We're in this until
God
this
says no
cabal,
more.
this deep state, these abominations that are in our government, until they are gone and the military tribunals execute them for their crimes against humanity. No, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop.
That was one of the issues that President Trump had when he first took office back in 2016, is he was pretty adamant about stopping the human trafficking. And, this isn't like, I mean, we don't live in a third world country where, some mercenary comes in and steals your child and puts him in this army. We are in a civilized nation, and we have to build up that army and stop this criminal organization, the child welfare system, from taking these children.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and that army is the American people, we the people.
Right.
Yeah, I
And we
agree.
need everybody. Even something as just sharing the Dropbox link, get this out there, wake everybody up, because I've had it with getting nowhere. I mean, so we mailed these documents to John Durham. The mailroom intercepted it and sent a letter back with all the evidence and said that we needed to contact, right?
They always refer us back to the state,
saying it's a local state matter. Project Veritas, we had a face-to-face meeting here at this house in May. Christian Hartsock, his name is, the senior reporter. And I don't understand why he won't come out with this evidence. I have been begging and pleading with Project Veritas to you have all the evidence, just get it, you know what I mean?
You know,
I don't know why they
these,
won't.
back in 2015, we had 5 families get together and we all came together and we made this huge, like 3-inch binder each of our cases. And it included pictures, affidavits, recordings, exculpatory evidence. And we delivered it to Arizona government officials, including the FBI. And nobody did nothing. That's when we got the letter back saying that they weren't going to conduct an investigation.
Right.
So since 2015, in I think it was 2020, we were able to get 29 other families. And that's what's in that Dropbox. And some of these families we know personally.
Yeah.
One little boy, he was taken and he was in the custody of CPS for a while. And when he was finally returned to his father, he was missing a kidney. His father cannot find any record of that kidney being surgically removed. Another little girl named Devaney was unlawfully taken from her mother under false allegations. She was placed in a foster care home with a pedophile by the last name of Fraudsham. He worked for the military and he was operating sex trafficking out of his home with these foster children. So then the little girl, he was picked up for drunk driving, got the Devaney taken away. Devaney was adopted by this lady named Samantha Osteros. Samantha decided to take out an insurance policy on little Devaney, turn the water heater up full blast, and put that little girl in the bathtub and burnt her so severely that she had to have her toes amputated. And CPS took that little girl and hid her in another state and adopted her out to somebody else.
So we need to do everything that we can, you know, with everything within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And put ourselves on the line.
This other
stop
mother,
this.
she went in the hospital and gave birth to twins. And the hospital gave the twins some kind of drug. I don't remember what it's called. And then the father actually has the tape of the hospital apologizing for giving the babies this particular drug. And then the hospital covers up their mistake and calls CPS. And CPS takes the twins and terminates their parental rights.
Yeah. Now, are these 29 families? They're all
They're all
the.
in Arizona.
They're all in Arizona.
I was just going to ask you that. Okay. All right. I may have an idea. So any final words you want to have before we close this out? And then I want you to hang on for a second and then we'll talk right afterwards, because I may have an idea that we'll see if it could help or at least draw some attention to this.
Okay.
I would have to say that if a CPS worker ever comes to your door and want to do an investigation from some bogus report, I mean, who knows if it's your neighbor, your disgruntled ex, or, you know, some friend that's like mad at you. What you do is to protect yourself is you get out your camera or your phone and you start recording.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't open that door. Don't sign anything.
No.
And I'm telling you, these CPS workers, and I've helped other families this way, they will run like a cockroach when you turn the light on in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be on camera. There is a bunch of caseworkers, social workers up in Prescott. They had the nerve to have these pink t-shirts made. And on the front, it says professional kidnapper.
What the heck?
I have that photo.
And on the back, it says, where are your children?
Hang on. It's on my phone, but hold on. Okay, here we go. So this is what it looks like. I don't know if you guys can see it, but
Just send it to him.
yeah, I can send it to you. Sorry. Ah, okay, yeah,
Wow.
I'll send it.
We are hoping. We know that this is a battle of principalities.
Mhm.
It's a battle between good and evil.
Mhm.
What we're hoping to do, especially with learning all this stuff through God's grace, mercy, and wisdom, we want to build up that army. And we want to save these families. And we want to save these children.
In every nationwide, like,
Mhm.
you know, I
Well,
want Governor Ducey, I want him tried for treason.
You know, a lot of money they get not only goes to their salaries, but you know, a lot of it goes into Arizona's general fund.
mhm.
I mean, this is like dark money. I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
And we know that they carve money out of there too for themselves.
exactly.
Well,
Let me see. I emailed Governor Ducey, I want to say like a few weeks back, demanding that he gives me back my sons with the evidence link. And they gave me a case number. Just gonna see if I can find it. You know, this evidence was hand delivered to Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham.
right.
Laura Ingraham said that she can't do anything.
It's, you know, I mean, it's really put trials and tribulations on our family.
Of course.
But, you know, I mean, by the great grace of God, we still have a roof over our head. You know, I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars, you know, filing court cases and documents and ink and paper and certified mail. And, you know, right, we've been living in the same house here in Arizona for the last 5 years. And our landlord, well, we have to move in December.
December 31st.
And because he wants to cash in on all the rent hikes and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know where God's gonna put us. You know,
I'm believing that God's gonna bring my boys home this year. I just don't know when.
I mean, when you see these people that have taken your grandchildren and they're buying new houses and they're buying new cars. And, you know, I'm driving an old 2006 vehicle.
Mhm.
God keeps it running. Thank God. You know, and I mean, we don't go anywhere. We don't, you know, can't go out to a movie or buy fast food and stuff like that, you know, and getting food stamps while they're, you know, making thousands of dollars a month off my grandsons and living in these big, beautiful houses. And I don't know where we're going to live in December. I have no clue.
That, and I got diagnosed with broken heart syndrome back in the middle of October of last year. And
I had a heart attack
yeah,
last October, and
right after her.
I kept telling Sara, I said, oh man, it feels like my arms are in this vice and it hurts really bad. And I was like that for a few days, and she made me go to the doctor, and I had to get an emergency stent put in.
Yeah. And I just think with the loss of my 4 sons and every battle, you know, that I go through within myself, and this, you know, every single day, I wake up, you know, God's already on my mind.
Mhm.
But
There's a song called, I don't know what it's called, but the lyrics say, God is not done with your story.
yeah, God is.
What is that?
God is
What
in
is
this
that?
story.
What is that song? Do you know that song, Lewis?
God is not done with your story.
I think it's
That sounds, is it God is not done with you, or is it done with this story?
Done with you, yeah. He's not done telling your story.
Or God's, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so I
Listen to this real quick. Let me see if this is the one I think it is.
Standing in your ruins feels a
That's it, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So ladies, what we're going to play out with that song.
That would be the perfect ending.
Yep, that is
God's
beautiful.
not done.
Nope, God's not
And I
done.
believe that's why I survived that heart attack, because God's not done with me yet. I still have work to do.
Well, both of you are so incredibly strong. I appreciate you. I appreciate your story. When
It's
I
not
say
up to us,
when I
it's
say
God's.
goodbye, when I say goodbye here, don't leave. That's for the audience. Hang on here, because I may have something that may help get the word out even better, which I'll discuss with you in just a minute. So we're going to play this
And
song,
then
everybody.
I'll tell you our secret plan if you can keep it.
if you can
I'm-
keep the secret.
I'm pretty good at secrets, so hang right in there. I'll play out this song. God bless you. Thank you very much.
You're gonna make me cry again. You know that, don't you?
That's my superpower. So, and then everybody watching, please go look at all the evidence, look at the videos, and please help these ladies out. Donate at the Give, Send, Go link that is in the chat. I believe there will be more to come. And good. So let's play this song.
standing in your ruins feels a lot like the end. So used to losing, you're afraid to try again. Right now, all you see are ashes where there was a flame. Truth is that you're not forgotten, 'cause grace knows your name. God's not done with you, even with your broken heart and your wounds and your scars. God's not done with you, even when you're lost and it's hard and you're falling apart. God's not done with you. It's not over, it's only begun. So don't hide, don't run, 'cause God's not done with you. There's a light you don't notice until you're standing in the dark. And there's a strength that's growing inside your shattered heart. Whoa. God's not done with you, even with your broken heart and your wounds and your scars. God's not done with you, even when you're lost and it's hard and you're falling apart. God's not done with you. It's not over, it's only begun. So don't hide, don't run, 'cause God's not done with you. He's got a plan, this is part of it. He's gonna finish what he started. He's got a plan, this is part of it. He's gonna finish what he started. He's not done. God's not done writing your story. No, he's not done. God's not done with you. It's not over, it's only begun. So don't hide, don't run, it's not done with you.
Well, that is an incredibly beautiful song.
Oh, I love it. It's just as good as the first one. It still makes me cry.
Ladies, this has been an extraordinary conversation. I appreciate your
you.
time. We're saying
Oh,
bye to
God, we appreciate yours.
we're going to say bye to everybody online. And guys, look, all the links below. We talked about a lot. Just go look at the description below. If you're not seeing what you want to see, just refresh your browser and it's going to be there because I popped a whole bunch of stuff in there. God bless everybody out there. We'll be clear in a second. I'll let you know when it clears. There's always a delay, ladies. So it's just going to take a second here.
I'll be back in a minute.